So tonight we're gonna have chili verde for dinner, and I've never cooked this dish, but my husband Dave, who shoots all our videos and does all the editing and everything, he's cooked this dish a bunch of times. So I'm like, why don't you just shoot the video, Dave? Show us how to do it.
Okay, I will. I don't cook a lot of things in the Instant Pot, but the few things that I have found I really like, and this is probably my favorite of all time. I've served it to a lot of people. I've never gotten a bad review. So that's what we're going to do is our chili verde. You can find this recipe in a lot of cookbooks. I've added a few tweaks to it so I can sort of call it my own, but let's give it a try. The first thing we're going to do is turn the Instant Pot on saute and heat up our oil.
So we're just going to let the pot get hot before you put the oil in.
Yeah, as I say, I'm not the expert. We're going to let this pot get hot, and then we're going to put in some of this fine cooking oil.
That always works.
All right, it looks like it's getting warm now. I'm going to put a fair amount of maybe, what, 3 tablespoons, something like that, of oil in there.
A lot of meat there, yeah. That's what I do.
Okay, that's going to be some nice hot oil. Now, what I use for pork, you can use any kind of pork, but I have found that you buy these 1-inch thick pork chops and kind of cube them up. It works really nice, and that's what I've done as you will see in the video inset that I put in here. But that oil looks good and hot, so I'm going to go ahead and put all these pork chops in. What we're going to do is just get them till they're brown. You don't have to cook them all the way through. You just want them brown. That's going to take between 5 and 8 minutes, probably 8. And we'll just sit here and wait until they're brown, and then we're going to take them out and put them back in the bowl and do some of our other magic. Okay?
Looks good.
Okay, that is looking pretty good. Again, you don't want to get this perfectly done. You just want to brown it so it's not pink. So I'm going to go ahead and take the pork out using a slotted spoon, put it into a bowl. Same bowl I used when I was cutting up the pork. It doesn't matter because it's all going to go back in the pressure cooker anyway. So we're going to take all this out and put it aside. Trying to have the pressure cooker front and center here so you can see it, but it makes it a little hard to stoop over.
All right, perfect.
Oh, not quite yet, honey. There's a...
Just want to make sure you don't spill your wine there,
Grandpa. Don't spill Grandpa's wine. All right, here's the pork. Now we're going to put these onions in straight away.
And how many onions did you chop up? 2?
That was 2 onions. Yeah, it'll all be in the recipe.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to saute these onions until they're kind of translucent. Might take 2 or 3 minutes. Oh wait, here's an odd piece of pork that I didn't get. Okay, now we're going to have these saute for a little while. That's been a few minutes. It's starting to look, the onion's starting to look fairly translucent. So now it's time to add the key ingredients of, first of all, garlic, which I have chopped up. This is about 6, 7, 8 garlic cloves. We're going to put those in there. Again, it's all a matter of personal taste. We're going to put some cumin in.
How much?
This is 2 teaspoons for this recipe. And the pièce de résistance, these fine tomatillos. Now I've made this recipe with just diced onions and
chopped tomatoes.
And yeah, diced tomatoes. Yeah. Okay, right. With just diced tomatoes, and it worked out fine. But this really adds to the flavor. This has a certain, what would you call it, tartness?
Yeah,
or something.
Definitely. They're hard to find at the grocery store. We've had to go to more than one store sometimes to find tomatillos, but they're really fun to cook with.
Yeah, finally found them out of Publix. Anyway, these are, if you can find them, they're definitely the thing to use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. How many did you use? About 6?
Oh, it was a little more than a pound. So I guess that, yeah, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're gonna stir fry this for a while, or saute for a while.
What, about 3 minutes?
About 3 minutes.
Perfect.
Okay, this stuff has...
Smells great. Those tomatillos smell really good.
Yeah, it is softened nicely, and it creates a bit of juice there. That's one reason we don't have to add anything like broth or water to this recipe, is because the pork and the tomatillos seem to add quite a bit of water themselves. Okay, now we're going to add our Great Northern beans.
2 cans drained.
2 cans drained. We're going to add, of course, our pork back in. we're going to add our chilies. I got hot chilies. If you don't like hot, you might want to go mild, but if you don't like hot, why are you making chili? Okay.
Why are you throwing those in? You can make them with no chili if you don't like anything spicy. Okay. Great.
And of course the salt and pepper. We have a kind of a pinkish salt here, which you'll find is 1,000 times better than regular salt. Just kidding. Put that in there. And my secret weapon in this is to take some of these pickled jalapenos for nachos, dice them up and put those in, and they add a nice little tangy flavor and a little bit more heat too.
We like stuff spicy.
Okay, now we're going to mix all of this stuff together, and it is a...
it smells so good.
It's quite thick, but trust me, it'll turn out great. You just want to mix, you know, so the salt and the pepper and the chilies and everything are nicely blended with everything else. Okay, I think now we are ready to actually run this Instant Pot. First thing we're going to do is look at our lid and make sure this sealing ring is correctly installed. Believe me, the first time I ever used an Instant Pot, I didn't get this correctly installed, and you can sit there and cook for hours, you would never know.
It didn't seal up.
Yeah, it didn't seal up. Anyway, this one is correctly installed, and so we were going to put it on here. And we're going to make sure this thing is set to sealing, and we are going to pressure cook for 8 minutes. And I think that's all we need to do, right?
That's all you need to do. You can walk away.
Okay, so we'll be back in about 8 minutes, or actually, well, yeah, 8 minutes. Okay, this thing, we got the lid on and the time set. Now, it can sometimes take up to 10 minutes to have this thing come up to pressure and then start cooking. So, as you see right now, it just says on, and it'll say on for a while, but you don't have to do anything. You wait until sooner or later the light will come on, and it will be, what was it?
It's 8 minutes. We'll start the countdown.
8 minutes. And so then you go away and have another glass of wine or something and wait for the 8 minutes to elapse. After it elapses, you don't have to do anything. Just wait for another 10 minutes when it will start counting up. And then you will do what they call a natural release. It's been sitting in there for 10 minutes after the pressure cooking, and then you'll click that thing over to release, and the steam will come out, and it'll be ready to go.
Great. Cooked this, we did a natural release, we let all the steam vent, and now we're ready to open this up, and the kitchen smells really good.
So let's open it up. Voila.
Oh, it's really pretty. I'm really surprised at how much liquid there is in this. This is really a beautiful stew, and we didn't add any water or broth or anything, and yet it's so beautiful. I'm going to here we go, got this. We'll put some of this in a bowl, and we'll taste it before we sit down to dinner. Here, I'll get you a spoon, and I'll have a spoon, and we'll see how it turned out.
Well, I'm guessing it turned out great, but let's see.
Don't be cocky.
Yeah, it really is perfect. I mean, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I like it, and I think you will too.
It's delicious. All right. Hey, and if you like this video, give a thumbs up to my channel, even though it's Dave's channel too. And if you have any questions also, I like to get questions. Send me a comment, and I'll try to answer those right away, or I'll send it over to Chef Dave. And subscribe to my channel, but most of all, have a really good time cooking in your kitchen. Thanks.